So, here we are. After 23 brutal globe-trotting races, the entire Formula One World Championship comes down to this one final weekend in Abu Dhabi. What was supposed to be a simple victory lap has turned into an absolute three-way dogfight for the ages. Let's get into exactly how a sure thing completely unraveled.
16. That's it. Just 16 points. That's the entire gap covering the top three drivers. After a whole year of racing, of pushing to the absolute limit, the championship is going to be decided by a margin you can barely even see. It's unbelievable.
All right, so here are our contenders. You've got Lando Norris in that brilliant McLaren leading the pack with 408 points. Hot on his heels, just 12 points back, is the reigning champ Max Verstappen. And then, get this, right behind him is Lando's own teammate, Oscar Piastri, with 392. Talk about drama. Three incredible drivers, two powerhouse teams, but only one can take home the ultimate prize. So you have to be asking yourself, how on earth did we get here? Seriously. Just a couple of races ago, Lando Norris and McLaren had this thing pretty much locked up. It felt like it was over. Well, the answer lies in two races, a sequence of absolute, unmitigated disaster. Yeah, it all came crashing down in the span of about 2 weeks. First, we had what we're calling the Las Vegas earthquake, a technical disaster that shook the team to its core. And that was followed by a strategic meltdown in Qatar. So let's start with that first shock to the system. The whole Vegas drama came down to this thing right here, the plank. It's basically a wooden board under the car. Its job is to make sure teams don't run their cars too low, which is dangerous. Now, the rule is simple. It has to be at least 9 millimeters thick at the end of the race. No excuses, no exceptions. It's totally black and white. And when I say the margin is small, I mean it's microscopic. After Norris finished a brilliant second place in Vegas, the stewards went and measured his plank. It came in at 8.88 millimeters. He failed by just 0.12 millimeters. That's less than the thickness of a piece of paper. And Piastri's was even worse. The result? A brutal disqualification for both cars. All those points just gone. So, how does a championship caliber team make such a basic mistake? Well, according to their boss, Andrea Stella, it was a total perfect storm. The bumpy Vegas track made the cars bounce up and down like crazy. That's what they call porpoising. And it literally scraped the plank away faster than they'd ever seen. But the real killer? A key sensor on one of the cars failed, so they were basically flying blind, with no idea how bad the wear was until it was too late. Just a complete gut punch. So you go from a technical disaster to a strategic one. The very next week in Qatar, you better believe McLaren showed up with something to prove. And they did. They had the fastest car, they dominated qualifying, put both cars on the front row. This was supposed to be their big comeback story. Instead, it turned into a lesson in how to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. The entire race, and maybe the entire championship, really pivoted on one single moment. Lap 7, there's a crash, and the safety car comes out. Now, this is a golden ticket, a chance for a cheap pit stop where you lose way less time. Red Bull? They didn't even think about it. They called Verstappen instantly. It's a no-brainer. But McLaren? They blinked. They got scared of losing their position on the track, so they told both their drivers to stay out. It was a catastrophic miscalculation. And it basically handed the win to Verstappen on a silver platter. Now, those two races were the flashpoint, for sure, but they were really just the climax of what has been a completely wild and volatile season. To really get why McLaren cracked under the pressure, you kind of have to zoom out and look at the bigger picture of 2025. For the first time in a long time, this season started with Red Bull looking vulnerable. Their legendary designer Adrian Newey had left, and the new car had problems. Big problems. Max Verstappen himself said it felt unconnected, meaning he just couldn't trust what it was going to do. And in Formula One, that hesitation is everything. It opened the door for everyone else. And guess who came charging right through that open door? McLaren. Their car, the MCL38, was an absolute rocket ship. It was fast everywhere. They were developing it at such an incredible pace that they actually won the team's Constructors' Championship with races left to go. It was a historic performance that should have set them up for an easy driver's title. And the momentum shift was just staggering. Just look at this number, 104. In the middle of the season, there was a 104-point swing in the championship. Max Verstappen's hugely didn't just disappear, it got completely wiped out and reversed as Lando and Oscar just blew past him. And all this was happening against a backdrop of pure chaos. You had Lewis Hamilton's big move to Ferrari turning into a mess. Carlos Sainz, the guy he replaced, was suddenly dragging a Williams onto the podium. And then you had this wave of new talent, like the 19-year-old rookie Kimi Antonelli at Mercedes, just stirring the pot and stealing points every single weekend. It was anything but predictable. Okay, so that brings us back to right now. All that history, all that drama, it's all in the past. Now it all comes down to cold, hard math. So let's break down exactly what each driver needs to do to walk away a champion. But first, there is one absolutely crucial rule we have to understand. It's the tiebreaker. If drivers end up with the same number of points, the winner is decided by who has more wins. Well, right now, all three guys have the same number of wins, so it goes to second place finishes, and that's where Lando has a huge advantage. This is his ace in the hole. It means if there's a tie, Lando wins. Period. So let's start with the man in front. What does Lando Norris have to do to seal the deal? For Lando, it's actually pretty simple. He is the only one who controls his own destiny. He doesn't have to look at what anyone else is doing. If he finishes on the podium, first, second, or third, he's the world champion. It is that simple. But, and this is a big but, if he finishes fourth or lower, that door he slams shut swings right back open for Max Verstappen. Okay, so what about the Hunter? What's the path to victory for Max? For Max, it's not enough to just beat Lando. He's got to beat him by a decent margin. Remember that tiebreaker rule? It means Max has to outscore Lando by at least 13 points on the day. So his clearest path is to go out there, win the race, and then hope, pray, that Lando has an off day and finishes fourth or worse. It's a tall order. And finally, what about our wild card, the long shot, Oscar Piastri? Well, for Oscar to pull this off, he needs a miracle. He needs utter chaos. First, he absolutely has to win the race. No other option. But that's just step one. He also needs his teammate Lando to have a shocker and finish sixth or worse. And he needs Max Verstappen to finish off the podium entirely. Look, it's a massive long shot, but in a season this crazy, you just never know. So, once you get past all the points and all the math, what you're left with is a purely psychological battle. This isn't just about the fastest car anymore. This is a war of the mind. Just think about the two mindsets. On one side, you have Lando Norris. All the pressure in the world is on his shoulders. He has the best car. He should win. And if he doesn't, it will be seen as a colossal failure. Then you have Max Verstappen. He's the hunter. He thought this championship was long gone, so he's basically playing with house money. He can be aggressive, take chances, and most importantly, he has been in this exact situation before, and he won. This whole season has come down to the tiniest of details, the thickness of a piece of paper, a 1-second hesitation in the pit. And so the whole thing boils down to one final question. Is this championship going to be won by the sheer precision of the fastest machine, or is it going to be won by the driver who can handle the immense, crushing pressure of this final showdown? It's precision versus pressure, and we are all about to find out.